Delay and reverb can be a great way to add space to your sounds and to add rhythm and pace to sequences. And what we're going to take a look at is doing both of those things. We're going to add some reverb to a single sound, and we're going to add some delay to an entire group. We've already looked at how you can add effects to individual sounds or groups, but in this case, it's going to give us a couple of different angles, and I'm going to show you both types of effect in two different applications. So first up, let's look at how to apply some reverb to individual drum sounds. This is going to be something you're probably going to be doing quite a bit, and I'm also going to show you a little bit of a trick for creating alternate hits. After that, we'll move on and we'll look at the delays and we'll add some of that to our arpeggio. So straight up, I've got group C selected here, and this is where our snare is coming from. You can see it on the software sequenced here on the second and fourth beat of our simple house beat. And you can see it there being triggered. If I solo group C, you can hear it. It's sort of an analog 909 style snare. I think it'd be quite nice to have some reverb on it. Now, maybe you don't want to have reverb on every single hit. Maybe you just want it on some of the hits. Now, a good way to do this is open up the sequence. You can grab these and you can just copy them across. And what we want to do is maybe put the this snare on another pad as well. Now, at the minute, we're using this entire kit just for this one sound. It's a bit overkill. You could actually start to layer up other sounds using this kit. If you're only using an entire group for one snare, it's a bit of a waste of a group. But one way to start to do this is to select the sound. I'll stop the playback. Select the sound and hold down duplicate. And what we're going to do here is hit the snare, make sure you've got the right snare, and then hit the next pad. Now you can see here on this display, you've now got two of those snare sounds, and you can also see on the software the snares repeated. Now if we take the last snare, for example, and move it down, we're pretty much going to have the same sound. Should sound exactly the same, but the beauty of this is that we can now use this second snare as an affected alternate version. So we're already in the modules here, and I'm going to go ahead and use the hardware to browse for the reverb. I'm going to use this fader here, this knob here, to look for the standard reverb. And just before I do that, I'm going to show you on the software that there are actually 4 reverbs. Ice, Metaverb, and Reflex are generally for single purposes and a sort of special effects. Ice is especially in a special effect, and it'll sort of give you a frozen reverb effect. And it's pretty intense and sort of metallic. If you want a more natural sounding reverb with some more parameters, you probably want to opt for the standard reverb. And it's going to give you a few more parameters and also some more options. And I'll show you exactly what those are now. I'm going to come out of the browse window here, and obviously all our parameters are available on both the hardware and software. And we've got modes here. We can have general, bright, guitar, or shatter. And, you know, although the other effects are sort of special effects, we can pretty much do everything they all do within this single reverb plugin. So if you want to have the frozen effect, there is a freeze button here, which will freeze the tail of the reverb. But now we've got a reverberated version, try saying that 10 times, of our original snare. Now I'm going to up the highs a little bit, make it a little bit more stereo, and up the size a little bit. Great. And now I think that because we've dialed some reverb in, that needs to come up in level. Now you should hear the 4 snare as a reverberated version. And that's a really cool way of quickly making an alternate affected version of any drum hit in your entire project. Now if I take the solo off, we've got just that single hit with the reverb on, and it's not a nice accented version. Okay, so there you go. That's how to apply reverb to your drums. Obviously, you can apply that to groups as well. You can apply that to entire group or your master if you really want to. But I think that's a nice way of using it. I also want to show you the delays that are available, and we're going to use the arpeggio. There is already some delay here, and I'm just going to switch it off in massive, just so that we're not doubling up on delays. Let me just turn that off there in Massive. I'm going to close that down. And I'm going to solo the part that we're concentrating on. Now it's really, really dry, and we've got a saturator that we applied earlier, but I'm also going to apply a beat delay. Again, we've got grain delay selection, reso chord. These are special effects, and you know, they use granular synthesis to create some really cool effects. But if you want a more standardized delay that we were using in Massive, then this is the one you want to go for. It's a very similar effect. We're able to change the feedback, crossover so that we get some bleed between the left and the right channels. The timing is interesting. It's automatically synced, so we can just change the musical measures here. And you can change the unit as well if you want. Got a stereo control for more of a stereo ping pong effect. And the obvious mix control at the end. Great. So we're really getting some interesting cross rhythms there. We're getting a very similar effect that we got out of Massive. If you want a crazier effect, you can use the grain delay. And it uses, like I say, granular synthesis. You can reverse the effect. And it's more of a special effect. It's pretty cool. We'll change the grain size. And you could try combining them. Let's hear that in the mix. Pretty cool. So there you go, reverb and delay as supplied, straight out of Maschine, straight out of the box. No plugins needed up until this point, and you know, nice and easy to apply, and only a few parameters to tweak, so not too much of a learning curve, and a few nice variations of more of a workhorse effect for you to put on single hits or entire groups. Before we finish off this chapter with a look at automation and how we can automate all of our effects parameters, I'm going to show you the EQs and filters that are available in Maschine.